Hey, I should clear my throat before I start talking. Every single time I do that, try to, hey, how's it going, and croak. So, hey, how's it going? Um, this is, I just woke up, pardon me. This is, what I'm doing here, I actually meant to do last night, but I just kind of got all tired and sat down and fell asleep. So I'm looking for the cards I pulled. Okay, so before I started doing this, I had a number of things on my mind. Just sort of the world sort of sense, like the feeling of general, I'm gonna say like walking on eggshells, because there's a lot of things that are happening. Like, I don't have television anymore, so what news I get, what broadcast news I get, oh, let me interrupt myself to ask you to please look at my signs. They're for your protection and mine. But anyway, I noticed that I don't have television, but of course on like YouTube and news websites and magazines, and there's ways to get news without a television, but you get it. It's a different interface for sure. So, to the best of my knowledge, there's stuff with Israel and other countries, like aggression and warlike behavior, or not warlike behavior, warring on these other countries. And I was super surprised to learn that, well, first they attacked Iran, and I'm like, wow, what are you doing? Because you got this other thing over here right next to you, although those people are essentially powerless to defend themselves against your aggression against them. I'm talking about Palestine. But then they attacked Iran, and I was like, what the heck are they doing? It just seems like, I mean, if you know anything about geopolitics, they have their own methods of being aggressive on the sly, I guess you could say. But they got allies. And there's more, but I'm just going to interrupt myself here to say, both countries are tiny, which blows my mind. It's like, what are you doing? You have dumb us, we're giant, but I guess we'll never exert any kind of control or authority over them when they get like ridiculous on the world stage. Okay, so back to like, wow, Iran, you attacked, crazy. Then I hear they attacked Russia, and I was like, Russia? Well, Russia's big, but Russia, it has a situation where an octopus only has 8 arms, I guess you could say, and maybe I'll get to that too, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about. It's all connected though, so you hold on. But what they blew up in Russia, they being Israel, is a weapons depot. And then before I went to sleep last night, I saw they attacked something else, and I think I just said, oh my god, and just passed out. Russia, huge, right? But Russia's not like in the best position. Also, like, they're an octopus with wounds on 4 of its 8 arms, put it that way. So, but they can cause a lot of trouble. Like, it doesn't have to be munitions based damage, and then Israel attacked Lebanon, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because, hi, big dumb ally, us, US, who's gonna be looked at like, well, come get your boy. What, BB is making a boo-boo? I guess, I don't know. So I know that those things are happening, but I just I just unsubscribed from MSNBC on YouTube, but I can still go to any of the news websites. So, and sometimes they sneak in, like one will slide into my feed from MSNBC. But I will bet you dollars to donuts. I waited all my life to say that. I don't even know why I said that. What are you doing? I gotta turn up the clove action. A fly is just come and just landed. I make food here. Excuse you. Anyway, now I got all sidetracked. Yeah, they attacked Lebanon. Oh, us, dumb U.S. Like, okay, just go nuts, and because you know who they're gonna look at, us, because we are the ally, and the self-advertising is that we have the brain, and too complex an opinion to even try and go into right now, but I feel like people are looking at us like, come get your boy, he's going nuts. And I feel like Israel is gonna expect us to take up for them in all these fights they're starting, and I'm like, we don't need to be doing that. That's their stuff, and I don't know. So I don't know why I started talking about that. Oh, I don't know, like what I was doing yesterday, but I was looking at some stuff that kind of makes U.S. behavior, and then tangentially, I can't pronounce that word right, but like attached off to the side all this other stuff to do with other countries, because it's a lot of wartime, and spy stuff is just shitty. Because the impression I'm getting from it, like starting at the beginning and what was going on in history, like all of this geopolitical stuff that the U.S. was involved with undercover, on the sly, I think we are pretty well educated in the fact that here in the U.S., they keep a lot of stuff away from the public. Take the UFO stuff. They will tell you it's not real for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden, okay, it's real. Yeah, we can see it. There's evidence of history seeing it. It's like, we ain't stupid. Well, I guess, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else, but I knew that stuff. It just, I don't care how unreal it looks and how unreal it seems and how detached from the reality that we have all around us something like a spaceship or an alien seems. It's crazy to think that just because it's not in our purview, it doesn't exist. What are we, 4? So anyway, there's this great YouTube channel called Eyes Wide Open, and it is the most unaffected, sort of emotionally or biased presentation of the history of the intelligence agencies, just as one point that he focuses on. Like, he has a bunch of episodes. So if you would like the present situation to start making a little more sense, then you will very well learn stuff that you didn't know. I'm old, so I got taught history, and you could talk about it until just like last year. Like, history existed, but there's a history for erasing history too, and do we all know about that? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing though, I didn't, because there was no YouTube prior to now. Oh, it was the cat letting himself in. Excuse me. Pupper came back. Pupper came back. Pupper came back. And Pupper came back. Hi, buddy. Okay, I'm working. Hi, buddy. I'm doing my thing right now. Can you wait? Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, YouTube is where I like either learn something new about a lot of this stuff or just plain learn something new I didn't know. Like recently, and this actually wasn't where I got details about like America's narco war cartel situation with the Medellin cartel, with the cocaine cowboy situation in like the 80s, and then it just has continued, I guess, since then. But I knew some stuff about it because I actually am from LA, so there is a component to where I didn't live in the area where there is now a TV show called Snowfall on the Fox network that talks about this stuff. And there's also a series, well, 2 series on Netflix. There's more, but 2 called Narcos, and then there's like Narcos hyphen something else on Netflix that also do like fictionalized screenplays about this real stuff that happened with the CIA and the DEA and the US government and multiple South American or south of the border governments, like Mexico and I don't know. If you have a Netflix, go chill. But what YouTube did was they have like this vast catalog of information that you can access, and then I found my way to, you know, historical reports about the stuff in the form of, well, just history, like presidential administration history, like, oh my. Such a tangled web we have woven for ourselves. Like I said, it gives what's happening today a lot of context. And then there's like the stuff that people don't want to believe is real. But anyway, I'm not going to go there either. That's the general tone here. I always talk about stuff that I think people don't think is real. So I've just been like kind of trying to entertain myself as usual, but you know, since I just recently made a change in my life from like what I've been kind of living this reality for the past 3-ish years, that I just had to say, as much as I love this, as much as many benefits, like ego points for me, this relationship that I've been having is, the whole time there have been crucial things that I need that I have not been getting. So, you know, I just couldn't go on, and it's there's this thing that I've noticed that happens when change happens, where you sort of are still stuck in your inertia about history, and I maybe know that like I need to move on and out of it in order to heal and understand it better and have distance from it and all of these really kind of healthy things that should go on. And yet it's like you can't stop thinking about the person, you can't stop thinking about what happened, you can't stop thinking, like, I know perfectly well that you can't fix other people, you can't really change other people, that's on them, you know, it's up to them. But you want it though, your ego wants things. But my brain was telling me from pretty much the beginning, when this happened, it was like, wow, really unbelievable. But I'm not gonna say that is something that kind of works against you, to like say that you can't believe it, because then your brain will be thinking, oh, okay, I guess I can't believe that then. But it's not good, because there'll be like another part of you going, it is, you can believe it, and that's like a fear thing. But it turned out to be real. It turned out that I could believe it, at least as far as what we had going on. when I like came to terms with the fact that like this is really happening, the other thing that came right to mind was, because of the way that it happened, I've explained that it involved a person that I prayed for to be in my life by name. And then when it happened, actually, I was like, okay, I am perfectly aware that this is not going to work out just the way I want it to, which is easy with no issues and problems, which mostly is the case. But like I said, from the beginning, I had issues with certain aspects of the relationship, and the reason why I ended it is because that never changed. And towards the end, I mentioned this, like it never changed, and I just kept bringing it up all the time. And I know that people hate that, like bringing up a thing, but when the thing is not addressed, you kind of have to do that, because certain things were expected and certain things were, it doesn't matter. Let's just say, I feel like it would have been the right thing to do, and they just didn't want to do it. So I had to end that, and still, like, didn't want to. Still, vestiges of what you feel are there. You still want to have that closeness that you pushed out of the nest, basically. And so I did something that I had never done before, and like didn't just stay in it unhappy, and if you state what you need and you're not getting it from a relationship, then I'm not an expert on these things, but I feel like that's not a relationship you want to stay in, and I couldn't do it. So as tempting and honestly about my own ego, how great it would make me look, I just had to say I have to give it up, because the thing that I guess was kind of really important is, on top of follow through, like if you're gonna make promises, then actually do the thing. Otherwise people are like, you just make promises all the time and then nothing happens, which is a conversation we had, which changed nothing. Hi, big huge red flag. Speaking of, right before I really solidified my decision to, like, I just don't do this anymore. You're just making you're like enabling your unhappiness. And I want to interrupt myself to quantify that unhappiness in the midst of all of this joy and like super ego fulfillment. But not just that, there is substance there too. There are many other reasons than the ego-based ones why that was like a really fulfilling, great relationship. Except, and I know there's excepts, there's got to be excepts, I just put mine out there because I know that it's like there's no reason to hide anything, so that like you're together and then later your real self comes out like a monster. I think that sounds terrifying. So my policy is no surprises. And that's the first time I've just let it all hang out, and for the most part it seemed okay. But until I started insisting on the promises being fulfilled and some follow through, that's where we ran into problems. And I just couldn't keep doing this. I've been through this before, so have they, but it's different. It's a different situation with every person, every new person, obviously. But the other thing that I didn't do, because I'm terrible at doing affirmations and remembering to follow routines and rituals, I just kind of make it up as I go. I did a thing, occasionally I do, I've written some letters, good, bad, and ugly, and torched them for ritual purposes. Not to harm anyone else, but just as a clearing for myself, a process of processing of my own. No ill intent. I don't ever attach anything like that to that. I'm not putting a curse on anyone. And I used to get mad, and this time I'm not mad at all about the interplay between me and this person. That's not really the problem. Like, we get along disgustingly well. That's why I'm like heartbroken that I had to be like, I can't do this. But so anyway, the thing that I did that you will hear often anywhere, it's not just in the spiritual community, it was write down the things that are not right, and to remind yourself when you're backsliding into, oh, I guess I could just take it and it'll be great again. It's like, it'll never be what it was. Like that always is something that changes no matter what. Like the novelty wears off and then the relationship changes, and so that happened and I was following it. But anyway, sidetracked. See, getting all clouds in the head and like lenses turning rose colored here, but I wrote down the things like they don't do this thing. They like, I have not a huge list. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 items, and then some instructions to myself like, I let this happen. That was dumb. And don't give in to it. Like, don't let yourself backslide, and never forget. And it's helpful, and I have it right there, like right there. See, that's it. Right next to my face, so I don't forget, because I could go back and I could probably like weasel my way back into speaking to each other again, maybe, if I'm like made a ridiculous pest of myself. But I'm not going to do that, because I imagine they also are feeling stuff. I don't think that they didn't mean what they said as far as how they felt. There was just things about it that just I couldn't live with. So I pulled some cards, and then also was hearing some stuff yesterday. And one thing that I heard, like, I know this, I have a way of reacting that's sort of, I don't know, like just a weird frustration mechanism, I guess, where if I'm not, like, words are not working and reasoning is not working, then I'm like, okay, I'm like, so many times I tried to wrench myself away from it. Like, from the beginning, I like was like, oh my God, like horrified by stuff, and like ran off and was like, I can't do this. And then like one time they searched me out, and then they're like, never do that again. And I was like, okay, I promise. And then like pretty quickly did it again, because I just ran out of ways to, like, nothing I was doing that's normal was making a dent. Like, they're just like saying all of the right things, and then like nothing would change. And I can't live on empty words any more than I can live without food and water. Like, there has to be follow through. And I have mentioned this, I know, many times. I don't make promises I have no intention of fulfilling. You know, I don't make offers to do shit I know I am not going to go do. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes it when you don't do the thing you said you were going to do. You don't like yourself. I don't like myself when I don't do the thing I said I was going to do. So somehow that is the thing I'm consistent on. I ain't going to make an offer that I'm not going to, I don't feel like I'm capable or want to fulfill. Like, I just think that's a fair friggin' way to treat people. So, I would love to see that reciprocated. I don't have a lot of situations socially, so I will have to wait a while until I have the next one. Maybe it'll come up so I can see if that's a real thing in practice. But anyway, so I was hearing wild, 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 you're wild. And I agree, like, it's my action is kind of reaction to things when I guess nothing else works, and I'm just that frustrated, has been to bail, to just be like, I'm out of here, like, this is just not working. And it's not to, I want to say it's not to coax it's not an ultimatum, but I have since realized that in a way, having done that, it is. But believe it or not, that's a thing that can happen with integrity. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So, the wild thing I was really identifying with a couple of nights ago, I was sitting in my doorway to my deck to meditate and look at the sky, which there's all this borealis and meteor showers and comet stuff happening, and they're like, look at the sky, look at the news, the spiritual channels, because there's a spiritual component to visually seeing these things happen. I live in the world of cloud cover. Every time I look outside, if the sky is clear, I don't see any of that stuff. I'm lucky if I see stars, and the light pollution is not like too terribly bad here. I have actually seen in the 30 years that I've lived here, since 2004, so that's 30 years. That blows my mind. I used to move, well, anyway, when I look outside and it's clear, I don't see any of this stuff. I'm like in the northern, I'm in a northern border state of the U.S., so especially now when it's all blowing up, I should see something when it's clear. And then most of the rest of the time, I'll see like a hole in the cloud cover and one little dim starlight. Like, I don't see any of this stuff. It's kind of a bummer. But I know it's there. I'm always aware of it. Why did I start talking about that? It's something to do with the wildness. But okay, so I was hearing wild, wild, wild. And then I was starting to see it on like shows I was watching, or like it just kept coming up in something I'd be looking at, and I was like, okay, I guess I gotta think about this wild business, but not too hard, because I know what it's about. It's the way that I'm reacting, and also that it's in a way that is like shocking to people. I can tell they're just like, wow, but I'm like literally not holding back. Like, if I feel in the moment like a burst of rage, I'm gonna let you know about it. And to me, that is the reaction of the leaving. That is what I'm talking about. Although in person, I have like, this is what happened. I was dealing actually with the person that I'm talking about, doing something to help them that has caused another huge, that's another issue. And it's very frustrating for me. It's like a lot of computer stuff and a lot of sort of activities that were new to me, and then even after I learned them, there were issues about that and doing that I just wasn't getting a clear enough explanation on, and I needed to, for reasons like it's important, and I just wasn't getting that feedback either to my satisfaction. So I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. And all of this happened, like all of these things happened at once, and I was like, I'm done. If you can't like do these, like, you have so many options of doing a thing that you have said you don't want to do because of contractual obligations, and like you make the reasons, these to me now excuses. There's a little bit of plausible deniability, but I have no way to test what they're saying, unfortunately. Or I can't figure out how. And like I said, I didn't feel like I was getting answered to my satisfaction, and so the ultimatum was, I can't do this anymore unless you come through. And I have not heard back from that person. And I don't know what's going on. Like, I have like feelings. I definitely still feel the connection. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want it anymore, and I just put up a wall. I feel like they're all kinds of defensive, and they did say, well, if you do this, I'm going to do that. And it's like, then did you feel anything that you said you felt? So there's like still a lot of stuff that I'm feeling, they've got to be feeling stuff too. And I see, now I feel them because I'm talking about them and talking about feeling them, and all of a sudden I get a rush, like it comes from over here somehow, of the sensation of that person's frequency, their tone. So I know that we're both still feeling each other in that way. That is not anything unusual that no one's heard of. But feeling the wildness and just that word being presented to me over and over made me feel like I needed to pull from my Wild Unknown deck. And the first thing I pulled was the Swan. And here's the conversations we've had. I think you're so beautiful in many ways. Well, I think you're so beautiful in many ways. And I thought, is how I'm feeling. I was thinking something like I don't have a porcupine card in the deck, but I was feeling more like that. And then it was like, okay, a second card came out, and it was this card, the unicorn. And I feel like it's the impossibility of the relationship, the way that it was, and also the impossibility of the fact that it could still be. And by impossible, just like, I think this is only unreal. A unicorn is only unreal when you can't imagine it, and so in a way it's like the idea of something magical that you can't quite touch, that you can't quite see. You believe it's there, but maybe your belief wavers. Like, that's what the relationship always felt like, and that's not what I was feeling. Like, I thought maybe like a big cat or a wolf or something. No, just all of this. There's not anger though. That's the thing. Like, I did get mad about stuff, but it wasn't personal. It was like when I'd be trying to do these tasks that were new to me, and his thing was always like, well, you need to upgrade your cyber skills. You're like way behind. And I'm like, then don't have me doing this. He's like, you gotta learn. So, and he's right. You do have to like keep up, or else everything starts looking like something you've never even heard of before. You do have to, you're kind of forced to, because just the same way I got forced on many levels out of having TV. I miss TV so much. And here's how bad I'm not supposed to have it. I have like the Wi-Fi thing, and so I was at the local computer store place, and the guy is like, look, this is old, probably no one's gonna buy it, and it was to act as the interface for the Wi-Fi to make your TV work. And I got it mostly set up, and then the thing stopped working, and I thought it was batteries, and I had to wait a whole month until I had battery money, and I got batteries, and I thought the free batteries I got from somebody that would have fresh batteries were like old and dead or something, and I just tossed them. And then I bought new batteries, because the ones I got were from Costco, and they were probably the same brand, but I put in the new ones I got out of the package, and they were Duracells, and so I really trusted them and put them in the remote, and then the remote just, it doesn't work, and it's not the batteries. So no TV on a big screen. And I do have a computer monitor on my desk that's covered with so much crap I can't use it. I don't know how to make that happen. I don't know how to do stuff. He's right. I need to improve my cyber skills. And he was helping me with that. Dang it! I just couldn't. So, anyway, and then what I've been attempting to do, which is in line with my search to control and properly direct my energy, has been well, I'm not like mad at him. I'm frustrated that he was so good on so many levels, and then I'm just a couple that I just couldn't, keep putting up with stuff. So, God, it's just such a disappointment. But anger is not a factor. It's not like that. We didn't have an argument, and I left on like those kind of bad terms. And most of my endings have not been that way because I usually get dumped. So I had been, my pattern was I would get dumped. And then, even then, anger didn't really come into it except for like at myself for being a sucker yet again making a bad choice. And I did go through a what is wrong with me period like for years until my understanding of things changed, and it was like, I wasn't doing the things that I find offensive, like cheating on people and lying to people. Like, I wasn't doing that. I was attracting that. But what I noticed was almost from the beginning was that from me, they'd immediately find like their person, their forever person, and get married and have children. I'd be like, what the hell is that about? And this realization came before I got into the metaphysical stuff the way I am now. But I realized, like, so I am like the catalyst that other people need to end up with the right person. And I thought, great. Where does that leave me, though? And so, didn't change anything, but there are other frustrating parts for me that have always been the case with, like, meeting the right person. It doesn't even have to be the forever person. It just has to be the for now person, and I have had trouble establishing that link. And as my perception changed about the way relationships have happened with me, I began to realize, and this is more so after more metaphysical learning and understanding, anger doesn't help a dang thing, and there's something to be learned from every experience. But man, okay, fine, I guess that's my role as a teacher healer, but that's real hard work. Anger, though, doesn't serve anyone in any part of it. So I'm not like mad like I used to get about endings, but the endings were shitty. So I think I could have the justifiable anger about that. And so these days and right now, what I've been trying to do is not feel too much either direction, like just trying to have a sort of what I can't think of the word, but what I am thinking of is I do YouGov surveys, and they have a part that's an in-house survey called ratings, and you have a choice that's on it's like a color scale, and it's like extremely no, extremely yes, or extremely disagree, or disagree, neutral, that is the word I'm looking for. Neutral is what I'm going for as far as what I'm feeling. Well, I'm trying to keep my energy from being like uproariously spiky and angry, or low and just in the sludge. And especially that, it's like I'm not going low at all, pretty much, because I know that everything that has happened and what may still happen with this situation is as yet undetermined. And so I have let my energy, I have this tendency to be like, I fucked this up. Like, this is not happening and it's my fault. But I have to consult my list of things of why I did what I did. Like, I have to just constantly remind myself, because the pretty, handsome aspects of it are not, that's not enough. You know, it's like cotton candy is not going to sustain your life for long. It's not like, you need a wide range of nutrition in your diet. So, a lot of meditating, a lot of just trying to tune my energy to what I give my cat to love, basically. So, I started to say, I was sitting, and this goes back to the wild thing, I guess, in my doorway to my deck, and it was probably like 2 or something a.m., and someone came up, a little animal came up, and I had my eyes closed, so I opened my eyes, and it was sort of in the dark, and all I saw was a little black hump, and I thought it was my cat, and I just went back to what I was doing, and then I realized the thing had come closer, and I opened up my eyes, and there was a raccoon sitting in front of me going like this. You can't see. It just had its little arms up. Like, where's the food? A squirrel has, more than one squirrel now, has done that when the nuts have been gone that I threw out. Like, because I always throw them just like right out on the grass in front of my door so I can sit there and watch them eat them. And so they come up and they're like, where's the food? So I told this raccoon, I said, okay, hold on a second, let me go get some more nuts. I didn't realize they were out. And I dropped the curtain down, just because it seems like if I move too much, it scares all of them. So I slowly reached over and put the curtain back down and went and grabbed a jar of nuts. And when I came back, it wasn't there. And I had told it to wait a second. And I was like, all right, well, it'll come back. And I just started throwing the nuts out there. And as soon as they started flying, 2 raccoons darted out of the shadows and started eating them. And I was like, oh my God. So, they are so used to getting food from me now that I was literally throwing them at the raccoons and the squirrel. Actually, yesterday too, this happened. I was just throwing them out on the grass, and they used to run when the nuts came flying at them, but now when the nuts came flying at them, sorry. And now they just sit there and let them hit them in the face. I'm sorry. I grew up with like mostly boys, so my sense of humor is kind of stupid. But they were just letting the balls hit them in the nuts hit them in the face, and just kept eating. And I was like, well, that's progress. Now they feel comfortable around me and comfortable enough to go, where's the food? And I thought, this is great. This is a connection to the wild, you know, that, and there's also a poor little, I never call them opossums, but anyway, there's one that I've been seeing, and it's really shy, and I don't think it's me that it's shy of, because in the past, since I've lived here, they've just come walking right into the house. But it's been running by, and I assume it's what's also eating the nuts and seeds, and sometimes I'll throw raisins out there. The birds really like the raisins. It doesn't seem like the other animals care about it. But I try to, especially in winter, make sure that there's a little something, because there's, you know, there's city animals. They're probably eating trash, and there is patches of wild areas here, but they're just getting paved over more and more. So there's like a blackberry bramble right across from me. A lot of critters eat. Anyway, that is my connection with wild, and it's not wild and crazy. And I pulled from my what is it called? Gemstone Whispers deck, a couple of cards. And this is interesting. This card was on top, the selenite card. And the subtitle on this is Magic. Oh man. Those say these looks, oh yeah, those who don't believe in magic will never find it. I think that's so true. I haven't talked about this in a while, but there's a saying people have, and it's, I'll believe it when I see it. Belief doesn't work that way, though. It's like faith. You gotta believe it first, and then you'll see it. And I've found that to be true. It's an energy exchange, and it's often reciprocal. And that relationship had a lot of magic to it, and unfortunately there was just some stuff I couldn't believe. Like, that really comes to the core of it. And I told them too, I said, I can't take it on faith anymore. Like, I need action. And then this card was stuck to it. Tell me, what do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And it's the Tanzanite card. And I just thought, oh, okay, there's wild again. What am I going to do with my one wild and precious life? I'm going to be like the woman on the tarot card. I'll show you. The Strength card. And it's so perfect because I don't know if you were paying attention, but my cat showed up to show his love. But I do associate with this card often because I am a cat lady. And, there is a level of trust between me and my little wild animals. We had to build it. I had to demonstrate to all of them that it was safe to come here and safe to eat the food. And it's amazing. Animals, there seems to be some contention over the idea that whether animals understand us or not. They understand us. The raccoons, the possums, they all do, because I'll just talk to them, especially when they walk in my house and I discover they're there. I'm like, oh my goodness, hello. And they're like, oh, I was just trying to sneak in, I'll leave now. Or not. I know. I'll just say, unless it looks like they're going to poop on the floor or something, you can hang out, which they don't get to for long because my cats usually run them off. Oh, I start talking about the possum. The possum is like bullied. The possum, you can tell, has gotten into fights, and I hope my cat hasn't attacked this poor thing. But I've seen it running by, like darting past the area, and I know it's there to eat. It runs when it sees me, and I'm usually just sitting still. So I know it senses my presence. But I'll have a phone going with YouTube on there, and some loud channel will come on, and they'll be all, Donald Trump, and it'll be all, wah, and run away. Like all of the little animals. The sound of his voice scares the crap out of them. I hope the poor little guy is getting some of the food, though, because also its habitat has been built upon. So I guess I really connect with the wild element in my life. But with that sort of thing, and grounding is why I pull these cards, because this is very grounding and the wildness takes you out of the harsh realities of humanity, but also, these are found underground or sometimes just poking out of the ground or on the ground, but this I relate to the earth and centeredness and solidity and groundedness, and you can count on this. Like, it's very difficult to remove these elements from your life because they're almost eternal or everlasting, and that's about a feeling for me, and that is part of what I've been trying to. And here's the other thing that started coming in: allow. What I've been doing my best to allow to be, to allow what's happening and just be, to let it just be, and to just be myself and not react and do anything reactive, basically, in the wake of this ending. And it's an ending of a lot of things right now. Like, relationships are one thing that's ending, but personally, within the relationship sort of scheme of things, I've done a couple of things that I have never done in the past, and I feel good about it, but at the same time I feel longing and I feel lost because of the ending. But I also am like, I cannot be the one to go back, because when I've done it before anything changed. And this is giving me strength to, in the future, not do what I've done in the past and accept on faith that because someone said something's going to be a certain way, that's actually going to happen. Unfortunately, this is the case where I do need to see before I can believe the words. And that's something that all of these years have, I guess, been trying to teach me. And the lesson wasn't lost on me, but what I was the loser on was the follow through. Like, I knew what was happening. I knew that it didn't have to happen. I knew that I was allowing stuff to happen because I wanted certain things out of relationships. Like, not that I was being like untruthful or anything. I don't think I wanted, on the more baser levels, anything that the other partners didn't also want, like physically is what I'm talking about. But for so many reasons, things just didn't develop past that, and I guess they weren't meant to because of the catalyst thing. And so the realization that was happening was like, this is a form of my service, but why does my service have to be in the realm of getting serviced or about getting serviced, and then I am not getting serviced in the way that I would like? What I would like, if that has to be the case for the rest of my life, that I'm like some sort of catalyst, I want to be able to catalyze my own stuff. Like, I would like to be able to exert a level of control in a way that I never have before. And I am of two minds about this with the frequency thing. And like, okay, I'm not gonna fight what I put into motion, but also while I understand that it was the right thing to do for the right reasons, I also feel like since I did things differently, the situation can resolve in a different way. And so the person, they're not like for their career, you will expect a level of ego and narcissism. And it works for them. And narcissists get a bad rap, sometimes deservedly, for being destructive in many ways, like emotionally, usually. And so there's different levels of narcissism, though, and I'm just going to interject to say that I also have levels of the narcissist in me. Hi, I'm sitting in front of a camera talking to maybe 3 people. But, you know, not everyone is going to take something like this up and do it on a regular basis. You know, everybody is not built this way. So I obviously, with my wildness, have destructive tendencies myself. But I understand that comes with the territory with, like, entertainers, pretty much. So, I feel like I've never looked at it in that way before. And I feel like that gives me something to work with. I feel like that if he comes through and starts talking to me again, that gives us something to work with. And I think that it's on a personal level and it's selfish, but I also feel like if you look at it through the lens of the twin flame, it's like we're 2 different races where there's a age gap. We have different backgrounds, and the coming together of people like us with these differences being able to mesh so well, I feel like the public figure aspect, even though he wants to be completely secret about this part of his life, which I understand. Any entertainer, I understand you don't want media getting all up into your business, but it is also the devil that you know that you have to deal with. Sorry, but it's part of publicity, and that's part of being an entertainer. Like, you gotta have that. That's not what I'm doing here, but I get it. I totally understand. And that's the thing. That's why I feel like if we can, like, work around my wildness and his flaws, in my opinion, I mean, they're not, like, that's just what I'm going to call it for now. If we could make that work, I feel like that would be an incredible addition to, like, the collective. And so, on the one hand, while I've got my reminder list over here, like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, at the same time, I feel like if he does the things that I asked finally, that could make a world of difference. And there's work to be done, but is that untrue of any relationship? I don't think so. So I need to allow him to receive my serve and process that information and process history in the past. And it's been tough. Like, last night I was in my phone. I get texts from people trying to solicit money. I don't know how they got this number. I haven't used I used a different phone to make a political one-time donation, and they did contact me, even though it was supposed to be one time. They did contact me one more time, but I just ignored it because I would actually like to donate to that person again, but I got a budget. This other phone, though, that I've been getting these texts from, and also it's for some other name, and I've gotten other names on this phone. Like, there was another owner that I had to eliminate from the phone because I was getting their lawyer and their probation officer, and the pregnant girlfriend that they left behind is, like, thinking just didn't want to believe that it wasn't their dude, and I had to send him a picture of me and go like, babe, it's not him. He is as horrible as he's doing you. Believe it. Which I have to think about that again, maybe. Anyway, they're asking for someone not my name, and I keep like putting stop and blocking them, and they just are relentless. So, why did I start talking about that? I don't know. But I feel like this is petty, but it may be the case. The last time we had contact, I was doing something for him, and it was the thing that has been a bone of contention. Like, I never wanted to do it because nothing about it added up. It's always seemed shady, and it's like been like this dichotomy. Like, this person cannot be shady. They are public individuals, but they have been. They can be. It just is out of character for like the person that they not only project in their work, but also the person that I've dealt with, like what I know of them. It just doesn't compute, and they will not clear it up to my satisfaction. So the bone of contention, and it's weird. So I'm both trying to like not think about it, like put it out of my mind, but I'm open to a possible, reunion situation under certain circumstances. And on the other hand, I'm like, but you gotta like have an ending to this. Like, you have to sever that so something else can begin, like either a renewal with this person or something altogether new. What has been hard has been maintaining my self-imposed work schedule, doing my writing, but I have been doing it. I was like really productive for a while, and part of that was the encouragement of this person, but I know that's still there. Like, I think they must be as confused as I am. Like, I, in the past, would have just gone on taking it. I can't do that anymore. And I think that ego and narcissism plays into it too. Like, this is not what I expect from, and I am a fan, like a full-on fan of their work. And it's part of what, like, I think brought us together, is because of this person's work. They made a similar experience that I had. It gave me more perspective, and it gave me less fear about it, and it opened up probably like this person inadvertently probably made me more open to metaphysical stuff than I already was, and that makes me want to gather them in, because especially on that level, nothing that we talked about those things, nothing I said made them run off. And so many people have run off from me since I've just been openly accepting and talking about all of this kooky stuff. But to me, it's real. And also, I don't see what is hurting for me to believe it. But man, once I kind of came out, people do not want to have to do with me. Ouch, but I don't know, you're lost. I'm having a blast. So, gotta allow a lot. And just part of the allowing, I guess, is to learn how to not take things so personally. I mean, in a lot of times, a lot of cases, like, people have said to me, you can't take that shit personally, or don't take it personally. It's like, are you high? Of course I'm going to take it personally. It happened to me. But you can take it personally in a way that's not destructive. Oh, I guess, see, I got lost. Let me do the weave. Let me do the weave and go back to what I started to say. Narcissism, I think, gets a bad rap. but there's different shades of it. Like, you can be a destructive narcissist, and in a way we both are. And the way that I've seen that that person is destructive is that they don't like destroy me and my ego like a normal narcissist would. Not at all. They're very positive and uplifting, and really like back me up on like everything, but it was the things that I objected to, like those were the destructive things to me. And then also there's a bit of like, I don't want to reveal too much or else you'll know exactly who I'm talking about, but they do have a tendency to let other people do stuff and be a little bit kind of like, come on, just do it, and that is not cool. Especially when there's obviously the person doesn't want to do it, and there's good reason. It goes both ways, you know, like people will consent to things for their own reasons, and this person is very persuasive. So I guess like with any breakup, it's just kind of hard to let go. It's hard to get used to like that not being the situation anymore. But I'm doing things differently. Like the anger, I'm so glad that like I didn't realize how exhausting that is and it's such a waste of time. I mean, you're gonna feel it and you shouldn't like deny yourself the feeling, but man, like let it pass like a wind, because otherwise what I've been feeling is it makes me ill, it makes me sick, you know, like to my stomach, and heartache is just ugh. So I'm just gonna allow things to go and find other things and other ways to distract myself from dwelling on the situation in ways I would have in the past. So that is what I had to impart today. Sorry if it's personal, but everything is a vehicle, I feel like, to glean something useful from, and I hope I'm sharing that with you. So if you will now allow me to properly begin my day, thank you and good night.